want to talk about this judge nomination, Michael Boggs. We've talked about this briefly in the past, but I think this is going to start getting more attention. Set the table for us. There was a deal made by President Obama because we still, even though we now have gotten rid of the filibuster for judicial nominees below the Supreme Court, I believe it is.
That is correct.
We still have this thing called blue slips, which is not a rule in the Senate. It's really just a tradition where the Senate Judiciary Committee chairperson allows sort of like a deference to senators from any given state to hold up nominees from their state for a federal judgeship. And so a deal had to be struck with these nut jobs from these Georgia Republican senators.
That's right.
Because they were filibustering, I guess, or blue.
Well, they wouldn't return their blue slip.
Yeah.
Right.
Now,
so, and just so people can be clear about this, you've got that mostly correct, Sam. But this is a tradition, but it is a tradition that has not been respected by Republicans in the past.
I'm shocked.
I'm sure will shock you.
I'm shocked.
Orrin Hatch, when he was the chairman and of the committee, excuse me, and Bill Clinton wanted to put judges on, just decided to go ahead and discard that whole thing. So, again, it's just another one of those where, like, you feel like being a Democrat, you're fighting with one arm tied behind your back. You're fighting against a force, quite frankly, that is a deleterious, I don't want to say the word evil, but maybe I should, that will do anything to win. Will ignore any precedent, will destroy any tradition, will break laws, quite frankly, and we're sort of, we shouldn't do that, and even though I like him on lots of things, I'm sorry, but the person responsible here is Pat Leahy, who should be getting letters, phone calls, whatever it takes, because he's going, we're not quite ready to do that. What the hell does it take for you to be ready to do that? Again, they've now, in response to getting rid of the filibuster, the whole point of that was so we could get judges on who are people that are not crazy people, who don't, for example, think the Confederate flag is awesome, and think Planned Parenthood should be completely
All right, now hold on.
funded.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. So
I always get ahead of myself.
I know, because your mind thinks that way. But I want to walk.
I'm ahead. I'm behind. I don't even know where the hell I am.
The deal is, and I'm trying to figure out the exact contours of the deal. But essentially, they wanted to get the blue slip back on Jill Pryor of Atlanta to sit on a U.S. appellate court. And so the deal is we'll approve a couple of 3 other judges, Republican judges, and we get one more Democratic judge. Okay?
I mean, that seems like a really fair deal, too, when you have the president of your own party.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll give you 3 and we get 1.
But then... So we get the Jill Pryor, and then I want to read something about the second pick that we get. The bills that this person sponsored when they were in the Georgia state legislature were a constitutional ban on same-sex marriage. In Georgia, understand, there was already a law saying there's no marriage equality. The
laws aren't enough, dude. It must be enshrined in the Constitution.
It must be enshrined in the Constitution. Legislation to feature the 10 Commandments in all of Georgia's county courthouses. Multiple bills related to fighting a woman's right to choose, including one that would create Choose Life license plates, and another one that would impose tougher restrictions on minors seeking abortions, even in the case of rape and incest. Now that pick is the Democrat. That is the Democratic pick that we get. And his name is Michael Boggs. Now, here's the interesting thing, too, about this guy. When he was addressing questions from members of the committee as to what bills he sponsored in the Georgia State House as a Democratic state senator, he didn't include any of those. And apparently they're saying, they said to him, you didn't send everything. And then he said, that was an oversight. I didn't know you'd want those. And so he's now had to send all of them. And the committee is reviewing this. This is unbelievable that this is supposed to be, this is not the consolation prize. This is supposed to be this is what winning looks like for the president.
Yeah. I mean, again, right? It's just, it's, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. You know, like I again and again get to a point where it's depressing isn't the right word. I guess the word is you just want to walk away because this guy won't fight on anything. If any deal is to be had, as long as as long as he gets 20%, it's okay. You know, and I mean, it's unfathomable that a Democratic president would put this guy, this scumbag, quite frankly, on the court. It's just on any court. It's just unfathomable.
I mean,
why? I mean, that's one of the main reasons we're electing Democratic presidents is because of the courts. I mean, you know, I don't know.
I mean, I want to just read this from, I think this is from the Washington Post, which talks about there was a 26-page addendum that lists bills that Boggs sponsored and votes he took while serving in the Georgia House from 2000 to 2004 as part of his, his questionnaire. It also cites speeches he'd given. It's not unusual for a nominee to provide supplemental materials to the committee. It's notable that Boggs provided in his original paperwork a lengthy description of the kinds of bills he sponsored as a state legislature, but left out legislation on abortion, gay marriage, and religious freedom, which now appear in the addendum because somebody said, hey, wait a second, this doesn't seem like a complete record. As if he didn't think that would be relevant to Democratic senators voting for this guy.
No, it's not relevant, clearly. That's not important stuff. I mean, I guess in the end, what's the, you just sort of like, so what's the point? I would rather have no judges. I mean, if you're going to put this guy on, what's even the point of this whole exercise here, of even having a Democratic president? I've got a wonderful idea. Let's see if maybe Scalia, has a close relative, and we can maybe put that person on this court. Because essentially, Boggs' record seems pretty much, to me, I'm not a legal scholar, but just at a quick glance on the issues you've discussed here, seems to be pretty much exactly that of a Scalia or an Alito.
Well, the thing is that he sat on I think it was a federal judgeship, since becoming a legislator, but he never addressed any of these issues. So we really have no sense of how he's going to approach this as a judge at this point. Although I imagine, people are looking at, this guy's time in, now that they have this addendum, they're going to look into those bills. But I mean, we don't really have a sense of what his. We just know that the guy really, at the very least, as a politician, does not really comport with what one would think would be a nominee for a federal judgeship from a Democratic president. And, we should say that simultaneous to this,
this guy would be the right of like a Gerald Ford Republican pick, quite frankly.
Oh, absolutely. Far to the right.
We're not getting a Rockefeller Republican here.
George
H.W.
Bush.
We're getting an old Dixie Confederate right-wing Republican. That's what we're getting here.
And the only reason why this guy is not a Republican is because of the space that the Tea Party has created for so-called establishment Republicans. And let's not kid ourselves, folks. This is it's just a branding opportunity at different points.
Exactly. It doesn't matter anymore.